let me say this. After seeing Wilder knock dude after dude out, okay, I got to be honest, and I'm not too fond of the guy, and he's a clown and all that, but what Tyson Fury accomplished, okay, ending that fight on his feet is something, okay? There's something to be said about that, right? Because I see you shaking your head, Stormy, but dude got up and was still fighting, bro. And he hit Wilder with a really good right hand before that 12th round ended.
But D-Style, he didn't get up. He was given extra time to get up and everything. That guy was out, man. That fight should have been stopped.
That ref always has guys walk.
That fight should have been stopped, man. Listen, I'm not talking because I don't like Tyson Fury or nothing like that. You've heard me say that the fight should have been stopped while Ortiz was on the floor. We're talking about somebody's health here.
Can you finish watching the 12th round?
I can finish substantiated the point. The referee even said it's not 10 seconds. It's what I say. When a referee comes out like that, he has an agenda. Okay. Now the agenda, what it did was it sold the match on having a rematch. Let's run it back then. But the man was robbed of his knockout. That was a knockout. I've seen many fights, man. There are fights that you call, and then there are fights where you give a guy a chance. At the end of a long, grueling fight where a guy goes down there and his eyes are fixed to the ceiling like they were, and the ref count 3 or 4 over him and see him like that, it's over, man.
I heard your point, but hold on.
Was over there. He got in his face.
I heard your point. I know what you're saying. Okay, but here's what I'll say in return. How can you like? Here's my thing. If you want to argue that the referee, first of all, it's a 10 count. It's not 10 seconds, right? And I've heard disputes. I've seen different videos and and all that. But what I want to make clear is, you can't say the dude was out, but the way he ended the round. If he was out, he would have been taken out. The dude finished the round strong. You got to admit he finished the round strong. I'm going to believe my lying eyes. You know what I mean? We got to give Fury credit for that. You know what I mean? We can't say no credit to Fury.
I agree.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I want to say.
The dude was out. I've seen fights called before.
If he was out, he wouldn't have finished the fight.
No. I've seen it, man. The guy fell. Even his damn dad said the fight should have been waved off. Man, listen.
He finished the fight strong, bro.
Don't be in your feelings about something because it may have a bottom line against what really transpired there. And that was he was given a chance. They could have given Ortiz that chance. He just would have got blitzed again.
Ortiz wasn't all there, bro.
Neither was Fury.
Fury was talking to the ref. If he wasn't all there, how did he finish the round the way he finished it? That's not possible.
Fury finished the round because Fury is an addict. And sometimes those guys like that, they have a little more something in them, man. I'm telling you, this is not, believe me, I am not talking out my ass here. I'm talking about knowing the difference between when somebody has been on chemical dependent, okay? That don't mean he was on stuff that night, but there is something to be said about people who have a little more stuff in their system. I've seen that, man.
What you're saying is that the ref made the wrong judgment by letting that fight continue. Okay? Regardless of what you say, whether he's an addict, if he had something, whatever the case is, reality is that when he was up, he finished the round strong, bro. He was landing punches on Wilder.
When he got up and the ref was talking to him, he said, "Come to me," and he got ready to clean. Fury leaned his gloves up on the ref's chest like this. Lennox Lewis got waved off for leaning up against the ref, and he had his gloves up.
And Lennox, till this day, has said that they shouldn't have waved it off.
Leaned up against the ref, and the ref said, "That's it." And Lennox looked to his corner and said, "What? They stopping it?"
Okay, but so
wobbly.
Okay, here's what we can't do. We can't take a fight that happened years ago and say, well, they did it to Lennox. They should have done it to Fury. Okay, the reality is Lennox till this day has said.
Did I say that they did it to Lennox? They should have did it to Fury. I gave you an example of a fight where the fighter leaned up against the referee. I said Fury did the same thing.
Okay,
Lennox
but
was stopped.
You don't have to say in those words. I know what you're insinuating. That's why you brought that example up. Okay, but the reality is Lennox till this day has said they should have let me continue. Like Lennox has argued against that. All right. Look, at the end of the day, you can't say he was.
Fury's people have argued that they should have waved the fight off. Not Fury himself, but he's listened to his people. That's why he ain't in a hurry to get back in there with the man.
They could have thrown in the towel. Over. They could have. His people could have thrown in the towel if they wanted to.
Right? I want to say that I agree with D-Style on this one. I feel like Fury. I mean, for what it's worth, the lineal stuff, for what it's worth, the referee is always going to give guys that have that kind of title a chance. Like a good example, if we can go back in the past again, when George Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier. I mean, knocked him down I don't know how many times. I mean, he gave him a lot of chances because he was the heavyweight champ. He's like, I'm doing all I can here, man, but you keep getting dropped, And it got to the point where it's like, hey, that's enough. I think Fury, I felt like he fought very well that night against Wilder. And I feel like he deserved a chance to continue on and finish the fight. And he got up. And I personally, again, this is why one of my strongest criticisms of Wilder is his technique, is because Fury was badly hurt, no doubt about it. But the fact that he came in there right after and started throwing those wild shots, let Fury off the hook, man. I think if he would have threw a couple more straight right hands right there, Fury's out. And this conversation is over. But it didn't happen, and he got tired, and he did get hurt before that round was over, too. He did get hurt.
I think home and died in his sleep that night, this would have really turned into a real awful thing because of the punching power of this man, this champion. And that's the one thing that I don't like to see is when somebody is hurt, that these referees, they act too far on one end and not enough on the other. That's always my argument. I'm very consistent with that. Very consistent with that.
But I think the thing that allowed Fury to perform the way he did is he was knocked out cold, should have been stopped. But what happens, his body's reset. Everything is reset. So he wakes up fresh. And that's the reason why he returned as if nothing. That's what happens when your clock is knocked out, your body's reset, you're given the opportunity to go back into a fight. You don't know what's happening, but you're returning into what's instinctive within you. And he returned right to his feet. His system is reset. He gets a whole new fresh start on his system. He wasn't beat down. He wasn't concussed. It was just like he woke up from a nap, and he returns right back to the ring. And that's what allowed him to carry on through the remaining seconds or minutes of that round. But other than that, he was completely shut off in that fight. But so the ref allowing that.
Like the argument is, he knocked him out. They should have given him the knockout. But here's my counter argument. The dude did make it to his feet, okay, before the ref said 10. It is a 10 count, right? Now, not only that, that ref always has guys walk this way, walk that way, come to me. He always does that. Now, I personally don't like that he does that, but he always does that, right? Now, not only that, Reggie, you can't say he was knocked out cold and then he still finished around strong, bro.
Yes, you can. When your body shuts down, your body gets knocked out, your body does things to protect itself. It shuts off all its systems. It's protecting themselves. You could have kicked Fury. It'd have been nothing that would have happened to him at that moment until he regained consciousness. But at that point, it ain't nothing being done to him. He's allowed to reset. He goes through that quick net. When someone's knocked out like that, they go through these quick dreams. Everything replays and it resets, and that's what allowed to be happen. But the count was beyond. It was even before he told him to step left, step right.
I don't think the count was that bad. I just got to be honest.
That count was horrific.
I don't think the count was anywhere near as bad as it's made out to be. Okay. At the end of the day, refs always do that, bro. Okay. Like what I'm trying to get at is this. Okay. If in that case, like, are you arguing they should get rid of the 10 count? Like, when a guy goes down, looks knocked out, finish it. No, guys, that's the rule. You have a 10 count. You are given a 10 count to get back up, and you make it to your feet. Now, in modern day boxing, different refs do different things, like come to me, walk this way, walk that way. It's not like he wasn't doing a Joshua. Okay, like he didn't walk away from the ref and lean on the ropes and spit his mouthpiece out.
But he was out. He was out, D-Style. And that's the thing. Jack Reese had the closest look of anybody, and he could see that man's eyes were fixed
like
to the lights.
He can use.
He wasn't. No, listen.
Hindsight's 2020.
If he is looking at the fighter's health and well-being, he is supposed to recognize on spot what's happening there, and that's what he didn't do. He took a liberty that could have actually ended up in a bad way. Like I said, the way things played out, people say run it back. But what I'm saying is, had something seriously happened to Fury, it would be a whole different situation. But you talking about his family, his own family said that he was out and the fight should have been stopped. If his family weren't saying that,
it looked like he was definitely out.
You said would have merit. But
he got up.
Okay, but
he should have waved it off.
Stormy, but he got up and he finished the round strong, bro. He was landing punches on Wilder, bro. Like he was like bouncing on his feet and shit. We can't just write that off and say, well, the dude's a drug addict. That's why that happened. No, at the end of the day, he finished. Like, in hindsight, the ref made the right call. Like, the dude was not out. Like, the definition of out means you can't continue no more. The definition of out is this dude has no business fighting this round anymore. He's out. You don't recover from a knockout just like that. You know, that's not a thing.
Well, it's time for him to run it back.
Well, and here's what I get at.
I agree.
But I'll tell you this though. I'm not faulting Fury. Like I said, I don't have it's nothing against Fury whatsoever. It's not. But that referee, Jack Reese, I do not like that guy. I don't like how he takes liberties at certain instances and then others he don't. He's not consistent. Go back and look at his track record. You will see that about him. And that man is going to mess around and somebody's going to be seriously hurt and it'll be on his hands because I don't like people like him. People used to get on Richard Steele for stopping fights too fast, okay? But Richard Steele saved people's lives. I can't get too mad at that. If they want to run it back, they can run it back. That's fine. But that man, under that situation, with that kind of puncher, you're actually doing a disservice to the sport of boxing. Okay? You are. But but again, they can fight again. And I'll tell you, if he gets slept, or whatever. It don't matter. But what I'm saying, that referee right there, watch him. You'll see.
Like I'm
Fury gonna take a nap again, like Reggie said.
Here's what I want to make sure, okay? Like at the end, I agree that Fury's gonna go to sleep this time. Okay, I think he fought the fight of his life and he barely got out. Okay, I get that, right? I was only saying like we gotta give Fury credit for ending that round strong, and you were shaking your head. Okay, but that's a different story. As far as the rematch goes, Fury's going to sleep. Okay, and like sleep, right? Like where
I was shaking my head because
he's not going to get up this time.
I felt like he should not have finished the round. I felt like when the referee saw that guy laying there with his eyes fixed to the ceiling, when he counted to 3 or 4, he should have waved it because the guy was like he was dead with his eyes open. It wasn't like he was looking and he was going, oh.
He was talking to him.
The guy was unconscious with his eyes open.
No, he was talking to him, bro. Like I've seen the footage. It
looked really bad, man. I remember when I seen it. The right hand.
I get that. To him. His Fury wasn't responding.
No, he was telling.
But even in
go ahead.
But even in the thought of that fight, Wilder should have stuck to boxing and knocked his ass back out.
Why? Like, what is it about that knockdown that it has to be a knockout when it wasn't, guys? He finished the fight, guys.
It was a knockout. Come on, D-Style. That was a knockout, man.
That was in the knockout.
You know what? I appreciate you, creating, a little controversy with like back and forth banner and all of that, dude. But that kind of stuff don't mean shit to me because I'm always in favor of taking care of the fighters. That's what I'm in favor of. And I saw a man who was out, okay, unconscious with his eyes open. It happens. That's when a ref should say, this guy is done. I'm not saying so Wilder could have got his knockout. I'm saying Wilder didn't get his knockout, but I'm not saying that, oh, I just wanted this because I wanted Wilder to get the knockout. That man was out. He was out and he was done. He did wake up after a period, but I think it was still beyond the count.
All right. Well, I mean, that's not what I saw. I just got to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a stretch too, man, because he got up, man, and he hurt Wilder. He hurt
Jack
him.
Reese said, just like the super chat says, Jack Reese even said the guy was in there moaning. The guy's eyes are shut. That's why people were making memes of this Undertaker stuff.
A fighter gets the fighters get a 10 count. Okay, if refs stop fights when it's clear the guy's not going to make the 10 count. Okay.
No, guys get 10 counts when they're conscious.
2020 tells us he
no, that's not true. That's not true. There have been guys where ref had waved the fight off as soon as he went down. You could tell how he went. Matter of fact, when Canelo knocked out Kovalev, as soon as he went down over there, the ref pushed Canelo out the way and waved the fight off. What was that? He didn't even issue a count. He waved the damn fight off right away.
And 10 minutes later, he still didn't look all good. Like he didn't look like he was going to be able to finish a round after 4 or 5 minutes. From what I saw,
he waved the fight off of Kovalev, and next thing you know, Kovalev's over there in the corner smiling with his people and shit, man.
All right, well,
I would have waved that Kovalev fight off too. He was done.
Yeah, I agree with that. He was done after that. But that's another. I mean, I get that. But at the end of the day,
that man wasn't knocked out. Kovalev wasn't knocked out.
He was done. He was done.
I mean,
he didn't get a count.
Kovalev was done in that one. He was done.
You can't tell me that in hindsight, like even he finished the fight.
How come is for one guy that's okay, but the other guy is not? I'm being very consistent with what I'm saying here, and it's like you're actually trying to justify, but I'm not trying to justify.
I'm not trying to justify anything.
If you want to wave it off of Kovalev because he fell on the ropes like that, then why didn't Tyson Fury, with his eyes open and fixed, didn't he wave it off? Why?
Right. Well, because
I don't think it was that bad, man.
At the end of the day, bro, like
that dude was dead, man.
Of a fight, when the guy goes down like that,
Fury was
you know
dead.
What? My first reaction, I'm be honest.
Roll over or anything.
My first reaction to it was hold on. My first reaction to it was just like when he hit Ortiz with that right hand, left hook, bam, he went down like a tree. I thought the fight was over, and I'm looking, he's counting, and I was like, man, I gave Tyson Fury. I was like, damn, he got up, and not only that, he survived the round, man, and he hurt him. Like, I don't think you guys are acknowledging the fact that he hurt Wilder before that round was over, man. You guys got to acknowledge that, man.
You guys like the fact that people get hurt and they keep going on, but when a person loses his life, man, he got family to go home to and everything. That's not cool, man. That's not what we want. I just did a stream recently.
I don't want that.
Guys saying, I'm a warrior. I want to die in the ring. Don't nobody really want to die in the ring. But that's the thing to say, to be perceived as a tough guy. You can be a tough guy with your performance, and you can say, I'm going to give it all I got, but you don't really want to give it everything you got, meaning like your life, okay? And the people that's working your corner, they don't want that either, or they shouldn't want that.
I agree with that.
There's a lot of things happening in the sport where it's not consistent. And I'm gonna tell you,
I agree with everything you're saying.
The fighter's life and well-being is most important. We don't see enough of the towels being thrown in. We don't see enough of a corner man waving the fight off in between rounds when his guy should. Teddy Atlas should have stopped that fight with Volskit against Beterbiev. He should have stopped that fight a few rounds earlier. And that man was getting beat up. He didn't want to even go back out there no more. And Teddy is over there trying to give him those lectures and shit. And the guy's clearly, he don't want to quit, but he and the trainer ain't on the same page.
I agree with what you're saying, man, but I just don't think that applies to Fury in that 12th round. I just don't.
Well,
he got up.
Fury needs to get back in the ring, and that's the reason why. That's why Jack can do that.
Like, here's the thing. I'm not doing it for banter. I just noticed you were shaking your head. I was trying to talk about the rematch and what's going to happen in the rematch. Okay, but I'm
in the rematch. But the thing about it is, what I said about chemical dependency rings true too, man. Do you know when a person has been abusing substances, they don't have the same resistance and everything like you and I do. They don't. If you're not taking substances, I don't know about you, but I ain't on no substances. Okay, but when they take things, it even if it's not in their system, there's certain resistances, and also the way that they take on properties to their body. It's like it's not the same, man. It's not. So it's like you have to be wary of that. That's like a person being a little extra strong, you know, having been on something, you know. But I'm not saying he was on something for the fight. I'm just saying he's a known addict, man. He said it himself. You say like I made it up or something. He said he was on cocaine binges.
We all know that. Yeah, we know
himself. I didn't say it. He did it. You know.
Yeah, we know that.
Person a little bit different, man. It does. For a while, his voice and his throat was very raspy and everything. That was that coke raspiness from snorting all that substance, man. This is it's like, dude, there's a lot of factors here. I feel like I'm being talked to like, oh, I just wanted Wilder to get the knockout. No, I'm like,
I didn't say that.
If like, that was Wilder, I would have been like,
everybody got a point of view though. Everybody got a point of view on this subject. So we can't take it that way.